Won't this thing work? Why aren't you doing this?
You're after the crystal, aren't you?
Do you know where it is?
I've gathered some friends just for you. Entertain them, and maybe I'll tell.
What is going on here?
Poor little Rose. I'm waiting for you in the back bedroom. Your friends want to play hide and seek. Think you can evade them on your way here?
guess I should keep heading this way?
Where could little Rose be? Found you. You're so stubborn. Well, there's still plenty of friends waiting. Did you hear that? Get her.
So many. If they see me, I'm toast. There's gotta be something I can do.
Did you hear that? Get her.
Thank you so much for the follow. Good afternoon and many cheerful blessings from both me and my mom and Nia, dear streamer, and surreal RE fan Nickel. All the magically precious humans, our beloved chat. Happiest holidays seasons to everyone. Lots of all of you. They deserve the happiest. Forward back to normal. Humans by kissing. Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, I mean, hopefully these dolls get changed back to normal. This game's been pretty creepy. I beat the main one a couple days ago on hardcore, and I'm playing this on hardcore, and it's been a challenge. One of my dearest wishes is to have a mod for the game that enables the Formask to be in our inventory so that we can easily let them be alive and super happy ever after inside their majestic, stunning castle, or a future RE8 randomizer with possibility for them to come back, chase us throughout the whole game. To have the mannequin, those stone things wake up and chase us throughout the game. I don't know. I didn't really like the mannequin part of this a little bit earlier. I don't know. I'm trying to remember like RE2 having Mr. X or whatever it was chase me around all the time, like nonstop, was such a pain. I mean, it's a jump scare for sure. I don't know. I not those are. Oh, the queens that you kill, the vampire queens that we killed at the beginning. Danny, Bella, Casey, here, Elysian. Yeah, the vampires, they were strangely enough, those three were easier to kill. Like a lot, I don't know, on hardcore, I figured it'd be harder, but I don't know. I figured they'd be a lot more difficult to kill, but when you busted the windows open, most of them died pretty quickly. Yeah. I don't know. I think that they should have got a bigger run because they built the game off of them. I hope someone makes a deathless mod where we can escape without having to kill them, or we get that as a DLC. I really don't like killing them, especially and I always let them bite me and kill me 5 times each, and especially our beloved Vampy Princess Danny. She is such a compassionate bookworm, loving to spend time reading in her lovely library. I mean, it could have been an interesting twist if you were able to like cure them or something, but like you read about how all the tests that were done on them, I don't know how much mental sanity they would. But it seemed like the tall one, like she really like was kind of there, but it almost questions whether she was actually evil or not. But then when you look at the Duke, who helped us out the most of the first game, he was the evil guy. And he said he didn't even know his memory, so maybe they were really good people that were just turned evil. I don't know. It was definitely an interesting twist. I can see that, and I understand. We don't get a whole lot of context on the daughters, so like it's hard to like understand their characters. But you read a little bit, and it was more like they were just murdered and tested on. It was kind of crazy. Well, I mean, I wish they looked normal like the mom did. Yeah. Most of them, it didn't even like their fights didn't make sense. They felt kind of rushed, like they just threw them in there, and they didn't even make the fights hard. Like the tiny rooms where they'd pop up. Once the window got busted open, most of them didn't put up much of a fight. I remember the last one in that the last one where you had the top window observatory that you opened up in the library. That one didn't even really like fight you. It spent half the time trying to pull the lever. Like so, it was just you were just sitting there fighting somebody that like wasn't even really fighting you at all. And we could have probably avoided them. I don't even know why we went through the castle. Most of the stuff we did didn't even need that. Yeah, and it's weird because like you get so you have to break the boxes with your knife and stuff, but I mean, get it in realisticness, you could shoot the doorknob and the lock. Um and it would bust, but these are video games and they wanted you to kill them. And honestly, they built their game off the vampire, so I don't really understand how we killed her right off the bat, and then the only people that we really had to deal with difficulty wise is like the other monsters. Yeah, we didn't really need Miranda Ski at all. It's unfortunate because I thought she was gonna be a bigger presence in the game overall, but she wasn't, which is unfortunate. But like the fish monster, I didn't really understand the point of him at all. And the doll, where I'm facing her again right now, I think she's an okay scare tactic. Yeah, it wasn't good writing. They should have wrote it better. Honestly, I don't know. They they hyped up the game and then they killed the main person like right off the bat, which doesn't. I would have figured the Vampire Queen would have been last. Yeah, they would have been a good last villain. I don't really think Miranda was even that strong of a villain. You didn't even do much with her. She just took over the world, and you're just like, oh, let me play Chris. When you play the Umbrella Agents, it's like, let me go walk through the game. But it's not much we can do about that, and hopefully the next game will be better. This one I wouldn't say was terrible. It added a lot more to the plot holes. Would be questioning about, but they did kill Ethan. In this DLC with the daughter, I feel like it's just. I mean, if we take away, I haven't beat it all, so I'm assuming they're taking away her powers. So then I wouldn't see her playing another role game unless they tried to make a way where she got her powers back or they're never really gone. Yeah. Honestly, people were actually, from what I heard, they were upset that Duke took the castle than the vampires. That they felt like the vampires should. Yeah, I think because what's weird is like you put us in the first castle and don't give us the main villain, but then you put us in the House of Dolls and then you give us the doll again when we killed it. So like, how could you how could you take away the vampire and put Duke, even though everybody loved Duke and they just, I don't know, forced a villain on him? Yeah, yeah, no powers to summon the vampires. Not even have really any vampire anything in the castle. Like we're in the doll house and there's all demon dolls, just like in the main. And um you have like the boss battle with the doll again. So like why wasn't the vampire added back? It really seemed like a waste. Maybe it cost them too much or they were just too lazy. But I feel like the Duke story was pretty stupid. And the masks were too easy to get. Like honestly, you just at a distance shoot the ghouls and it wasn't really that big of a deal. Yeah. I kind of like the Rose's powers though. So I feel like they're kind of odd. Like out of all the powers she could have got, you can freeze someone in spot. Like, like I'd prefer like a fighting power, you know? Like if she could fight, like I feel like if they're trying to say she's such a powerful person, then I mean they were working on a remake when they DLC for RE7 too. Yeah, I don't. I haven't even played RE. So I played RE2's remake. I bought RE3's remake, and I'm gonna play it after this, or after I complete the second DLC in this and this one. Um, I don't know. Yeah, maybe they just got lazy and they wanted to work on the DLC or a different game because they have the multiplayer thing with the Resident Evil right now. Maybe they wanted to work on something else and they just gave up because it seems like this DLC is like good. Like they went hard in this dollhouse. Like the mannequins are creepy and like, oh, so you keep up with like the actual person that voice acts for him. I don't look into any of that. I couldn't tell you who the voice or anything, but that's cool that you like this series that much. Like I like their games. I just got into them way later in life. That's cool. That's you found a game that you're like really Witcher was that kind of game for me. Dang. Yeah, when you read the lore on what happened to them and like the flies eating their bodies and stuff, it's kind of creepy but cool at the same time. That's cool. You got posters and stuff, or portraits, signed by the voice actors. That's so cool. I was trying to read up on some like what people thought about this and the storyline and everything, and there was mixed thoughts. It'd be interesting. I don't know how they would get a happy ending though, because he never like cured anybody. And say it was the mold that made them, and the bomb went off. Like they never cured the mold. So if you took the mold out of them, wouldn't they just die? Yeah, yeah, the Condu parasite and having Miranda forcing them to do stuff, otherwise she was gonna kill him. And the Condu did some crazy side effects to other people. Like I mean, look at the fish guy. That's cool though that you. I don't know. I don't know how there would be a happy ending for him because not even Ethan got a happy ending. Once he found out he was part of the mold and they showed it, like, which kind of makes sense now. It like really, they're all very. Yeah, I mean, look at all of them. They were all normal people. You look at the end. What was his name? Hutch, or I think it was Hutch, but the metal guy. He was angry at her because he said it was all her fault that all this happened. And when you read the books of how each of them happened, it was just basically people that she chose that she was like, oh, this person got hurt or this person seems cool. I'm just gonna take them. Yeah, I know. The Condu was crazy, like and got the other person that started Umbrella Company. So like it's weird to think that yes. Yeah. Chris, like Umbrella Company, like did so much bad stuff and caused all this problem. And they knew this was happening. Even the village people were being taken at the time, turning into lichens. Yeah. Yeah, maybe Chris knew that they weren't actually bad. Like he didn't care at all. I mean, he knew the fish was bad. He had one, but he didn't have one in the castle, but he did have one in the church. Alternate timeline. Kind of jumping the flash right here. Alternate. Ethan was like the whole time he's like the victim. Like he had nothing to do with it. I don't think Chris could have killed any of them, to be honest. Chris doesn't even make sense because when he was like getting like if you play through it, like he's not even that strong. Ah, I don't think Chris was that strong. His team wasn't even doing that much damage. They make Chris seem strong only because the game wants him to be strong. I think they just like when they rush the end because they as soon as you play as Umbrella Corp, you like kill all the monsters super easily with the ramrods. I remember that. I think I remember that DLC, the Not a Hero DLC. I think you're in a tunnel or something, and you're seeing all your people are all cut up, like in traps and stuff. If I remember, you're like in some, I think underground, and I think you come out see Mir fighting. Yeah, but I mean, in the end of the day, it's not the worst game that came, not the worst stories. Like I still say this game was pretty good overall. I'd say it was not bad. Like and I really loved RE7. Like I don't think it could be worse. Yeah, their endings were tragic and sad. But you got to think in the game world, like they got to make it to where people are itching to play more. Like, and when people do pull on the heartstrings, it means more money, and people want to play the DLC, and they want to see who gets places him. And the world, like, and then if you think about it, like sort of like real world, the happy ever after for most people doesn't really happen. And in that situation, you got to think, would you even have survived? Yeah, he probably wouldn't have messed with them because they weren't doing anything super bad. Like she kind of just played around with him until he started killing the daughters. And if it wasn't for Miranda telling him to or telling them to get him, then I don't think they would have messed with anything. I think they would have just lived in their castle alone. And then when you look at the factory, he like Heisenberg, he really wants to kill Heisenberg with the tank. He even finds it, brings it back to life, which is kind of weird that like there's just a tank ready to go. Heisenberg was like he tried to blame Miranda for his problems, but like he had a lot of issues. Like the fish guy, he really just wanted to be loved by somebody because he turned into a monster. But overall, he didn't even really want to mess with you. He just kept saying like, "Oh, she wants you," and then they'll not think I'm a joke and they'll be friends with me. I think if Miranda wasn't around, Heisenberg might have just wandered like a monk because he wanted to tell you what to do and hell to do. He was also scared you were coming. To be honest, most of all of them could have been spared. Like if you really think about their story, yeah. But you weren't. They weren't like he wasn't going to be able to go kill Miranda with them alive. They're going to protect Miranda out of fear. Even if, say, he spared all of them, right? Left all of them where they were. When Miranda got under attack, the vampire queen with her daughters would have showed up. Heisenberg would have showed up, and so would have the fish monster. Yeah, he had two scenes. He built the one turbine turbo monster and didn't even like him, but he was building monsters. Like Heisenberg was taking people and turning them into machines, like butchering them. So he wasn't exactly the best. You look at the fish, there's nobody he really messed with. The lichens weren't being built by him, they were being built by Miranda. So the fish guy didn't really have anything to do with any of it. And so it just makes me believe that really Heisenberg and Miranda were both bad players. Yeah, living people that are under his control. They literally, I would like if I was a living person, I wouldn't want to drill for an arm. I wouldn't want an iron heart. Like they weren't really living; they were more machines. Yeah, but women had misbehaved, and like I'd say she wasn't perfect. Like I'd say the most innocent person out of the entire thing was the fish guy. They were like bored from Star Trek. Yeah, yeah, because they were under a central control. Like they couldn't do what they wanted. Like that, like the Borgs were controlled by a central mind. But except for the Borgs, when the central mind went down, they all went down. These things didn't go down because of they went down when you killed them. So I don't know. I think the fish, the Monaru, I think he was the most innocent. He literally just wanted her to love him or them to show him any sort of empathy or love because his transformation was so horrible. Out of all the transformations, his was grotesque. He wouldn't have only, but unfortunately, he wouldn't have only targeted Miranda. Like they would have all got involved because they were technically the children. story. Okay, so do you really believe that? So when they would have met up and gave the flask to Chris, could not have killed them all. So they still took Rose, right? And they still took her apart. So so Ethan's gonna have to be there unless he doesn't care about his daughter, right? Because she wants the babies. So no matter what, it depends. Are we taking the kid out of it? If we took Rose out of it completely, I don't know what they would all be doing. Like, yeah, I know Miranda took her apart, but since Miranda took her apart, Ethan will always be a part of it. If Ethan was a normal human, he would have died. If he would have died in RE7, and Rose would have never happened. Actually, he did die in RE7. I mean, when you remember when they have the conversation, they say how he died, and without the mold powers, he wouldn't have come alive. So, in the end, if you think about it, say he was a normal human, he'd be dead, and then Rose would have never been a thing, and Miranda would be still searching for some sort of child with powers. So, no matter what you do, the story would still keep playing out. And Umbrella Corp was watching her, and they weren't trying to kill her until they had the kid that had power. They wanted a controllable version of the power. Here's what favorite. Uh, so say they all banded together and fought. You'd have a very, very like easy, quick game. So you would miss out on so much of the game, right? Because if all of them helped you, you would be with all their powers, you would just push through the game. Like there would be no challenge. I mean, the Vampire Queen with her daughters would have already pushed you, would have probably killed the Lycans super quick. Unless you would even say that one of them controls the Lycan's mind, so then you wouldn't even have to battle them. And no, I do not think Chris could have beaten them all. Chris would have died. He's a normal human. He would have ran out of ammo. In the game, they give you, even on hardcore, they give you a ton of ammo. But in real, if you wanted to go realistic, like Ethan fighting them, he would have ran out of bullets fighting them. He would have, like, yes, he had a team, but Ethan was leading, he got body parts cut off. He, like, even with the biggest firepower that Ethan had, he still was losing body parts and getting stabbed. Like, so I think Chris would have just been another body that died. I mean, well, look at this. In RE7, when you played as Umbrella Corp, you saw them all butchered in that, like, I swear it was underground, like it was in a tunnel or something. You saw them all butchered. In a window. Well, see, they only died with a room with a window. So if you took away the windows, they had no couldn't hurt them. Like it wouldn't even be a fair fight. Say Chris fought any of them without windows to help him, he wouldn't do anything, no matter what. Or if it was not winter, Chris would have lost. He would have died. It would have been just like in RE7 when they were all butchered hung up in grotesque ways. He would have ended up like the townspeople. They all had guns, but they all were just getting butchered. Yeah, well, they had to do it. They had to. They wanted you to kill all of them, right? So they had to create a weakness to all of them, like the fish guy. Like, come on, like there just so happened to be a dam in the middle of nowhere. In the middle of nowhere, there was a dam. You're a human. Yeah, that wasn't a good fight. I felt like Miranda's fight was the hardest fight, even though I don't even feel like she had that much powers. She could fly. That was like it. But like, so could the vampires. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was yeah, a working one. Lady was like, "Oh, the power's off. Just turn on. We have 2 windmills. Just turn one. Fix the broken one across the way. We'll do a little bit of fish jumping in the water, but like, just turn it back on, and now you have power, and the dam works, and the dam lifts. Why would there be a dam in the middle of the forest in the first? And why would Miranda let there be a dam, an electric dam? When you look at all the people's houses, they're all made of wood and barely even got anything going on in them. Yeah, the poison dagger at the crypt. I mean, it's not. I mean, what the plot? The poison dagger. The husband had it. The forget. I think it was the husband had it. I mean, you look at the fish. How he died. He just kept shooting the monster form that he had come out. But why did he come out? Like he didn't have to. Like when you watch the fish, like the little like the person inside him just kept jumping out. And it was like, why? He could just keep attacking you. Oh, when he tore down the boathouse, or I guess if that's what you want to call it, the boathouse. I thought he died. Like I completely thought he died because all of the other people died. He was underwater with the deadly fish. Like I don't even know how. But then you look at Ethan was a part of that and went down in that house too, and he got away. So none of that really makes sense since they took a direct hit. But I mean, I guess you're right. Chris took an even more direct hit, literally in the line of fire. Plus, how could have saying? Well, you got to think if you're playing sort of like a Sherlock Holmes, you're dying in a castle, right? You're gonna look at everything and anything. You wouldn't know where to search for it. That's why you would search everywhere. And so it is kind of ballsy playing the keys though, and getting the right notes and guessing them. Like if say you never touched a piano before, looking at that music sheet, you would not have known what keys to push. So like you would have just sat there pushing buttons or pushing the keys until like somebody showed up and killed you because everybody in that entire castle would have heard you. But if we go in real life, the second one daughter starts fighting, wouldn't all the daughters hear it? It's just an old castle. They do a screech and they would all hear it. They're all vampires. They would all of them would swarm on the scene, but they didn't. They let each of them die. Plus, Bella. There's a lot of plot holes if you look for them. There's a lot. It's kind of like sometimes you just gotta not look at it. Yeah, but you got to think in a scary horror game where there's magic involved. Like there's definitely some magic involved in this game. I, the daughters weren't like at their stage at the point of the game. Like I don't think you could have tried to run past them and let them live and expect to survive. They were so far gone that you would had to have trapped them, but they can turn into like mosquitoes. Yeah, I know. But if you think about it, they turn into bats or mosquitoes and stuff or flies. Yeah. But so they would so Yeah, you could use a flashbang on them, but just because the barred gates are open, you could fly, like, they would fly through them. Like, a bunch of metal gates wouldn't stop her from turning into a fly and going through. Like, if we were gonna be honest, like, they would just come after you. Now, it didn't make sense, the cold shit. Like, I get that, and I get that I mean, if you look at RE7, you're in the middle of the Louisiana swamp in the heat. So, yeah, you're right. But if you think about half the things that stop you in this game, they don't make. Why? Okay, the one thing I just didn't understand, why did I need a well wheel to pick up a bunch of buckets? Yeah, but there's magic involved. So just because there's no spikes doesn't mean they couldn't just form through the floor. I mean, you're also talking about people that transform into bigger monsters. You're talking about vampires. You're talking about like the mold. Like the mold just existed and then showed up in different places. You could even try to connect and say those were like mold gates, just hardened. Yeah, I mean, in the end, they were never going to let you leave. Say you grabbed the key and you left the entire castle. Say you somehow did that. You got to think how the mother was able to go outside. Yeah, you would take damage and you wouldn't have to fight them. You could run, maybe, but the mother would still get away. Like she could still go outside and follow you. And say she followed you into the swamp. Say you had to go, you have to deal with Monero. He wouldn't, he was, had no plans to be friendly. None. You would have had to fight him. So you would have had to fight him plus the vampire lord. And at that point, you're doomed. You're not going to fight Monroe and the vampire lord. That's not going to happen. Like you would lose. Like even Ethan in mold form, yes, he can't die, and he would. But if they ripped him to pieces like Rose, he'd be just as useful. Why not? If you think about it, if why not? You haven't killed her. You took her key. Now you have what something she wants more than the fact that you've also stole Rose at that point, right? You've stolen a part of her. So at that point, she's now lost something she needs. The mother's gonna be angry. You're gonna have to expect. I could not see her walking over those water planks. But think about it like you've taken what Miranda. Yeah, her daughters would be alive. Say her daughters are alive, right? At the end of the game. Just by killing Miranda, you're not saving the daughters. The daughters were literally transformed using different stuff. Like you read about what happened, or like in the report, and the mother would still chase you down. Ah, I just think the game would have still played out even harder. Like the mom would have still came after you. You still would have had to fight Monroe because Monroe would not have let you take the thing without him stopping you. So then she's gonna fight you. She's gonna come after you. Monroe was there when you were first captured around him. Yeah, she may have loved him, but she knows that they're good as dead if they didn't get Rose back. So she would have chased you for the rest of the game and tried to kill you. And you would not have been able to do a boss fight versus them. Yes, correct, right? She loved her daughters way more and she tried to kill you, even though Miranda said not to. But if you had never. So she then had the reason to kill you instead of just play with you. But if you stole the flask, you've now done something bad. And Miranda would have threatened to kill one of her daughters. Or say you stole the flask and you got away and no vampires were hurt. Miranda would have came back and probably killed one of her daughters and said it's your fault for stealing the flask, right? And then she would have came after you for the same reason. I mean, they lived happily ever after for over 60 years. Yeah, I mean, in a demented kind of way. They were there to help make the mom be happy at them, but the daughters, every time they showed up, looked crazed out of their mind. Yeah, but you're talking so they wanted their problems to be fixed by Rose, but that would involve killing Rose. They were willing to kill a dude's daughter to save themselves. Each of them in their own way could have disobeyed. Heisenberg showed you that. That each of them made their own choice. Because Heisenberg defected. Even though, yes, the vampire lord said she wanted to kill you no matter what Miranda said. That proved to you everything they did is because they wanted to. Everything they did to you is because they wanted to, not because Miranda said so. Like, when Heisenberg defected it and said, let's kill Miranda, let's kill her. And like the whole time he talks about how bad Miranda is and how much he wants to get rid of her and all this other stuff, that she was the worst thing that ever happened to them. It proved that the four could have banded together. They all knew that though. Look at Monroe. Monroe knew nobody cared about him, right? And nobody wanted to be around him. So he tried to kill you to get them to like him. He didn't care that he killed you to do that. Yeah, but if you only seen that truth after the phone call that she only cared about Rose. So she drew the line, right, at the phone call because of her daughter being dead and Miranda not caring. But it's only like, it's kind of like a selfish reason, right? Because she could have seen it from the start when the fact they're all monsters and could have sat there and said, oh, well, this is terrible. Heisenberg said it all the time. Heisenberg literally said how he hated her. Yeah, I understand that part when she completely defected after the phone call. But she had 60 years she could have defected. Heisenberg had already defected. So they each chose to be the ultimate villains they could with their powers because they wanted to. Yeah, okay, someone could save you from your disease, right? They could cure you from your illness, but that does not mean go mass murdering a bunch of people. And it doesn't mean capture a dude and take his baby. Say, okay, we've mixed a little bit of real life. In real life, if I had cancer and someone cured my cancer and told me to go mass murder a bunch of people or steal a baby, kill it, cut it up, do all those things, I'm not going to do it just because you saved my life. It doesn't make any sense. No matter if I was happy that you cured my cancer, I'm not going to kill a baby and take it from its parent just because you told me you want me to do it. That's not how that works. Yeah, Miranda was already evil. Right. Miranda's evil, right? But just because someone's evil doesn't mean you have to be. Like Heisenberg was evil because he wanted to be evil, but he wanted to be the most evil person. And then Monroe, I always point him out because he showed how they had control. Heisenberg showed that they really had control, but Monroe literally proved that like they only cared to have Miranda like them. They each had the conduit though, each of them, and they each showed like how they made the choices that they made because yes, they're influenced. Yes, it's like the conscience in your head. Like it says, "Oh, go rob a bank," but are you gonna rob a bank? No. So like to say the conduit made them do it, it wouldn't work because Heisenberg didn't he just loved his powers and wanted to kill Miranda. So the Kondu didn't make him do that. Yes, but they can outmaneuver it because they're also strong. The only one that I really have no idea what their thought is the doll. I don't really bring it up because like I don't know. Because like I'm even playing it right now and I don't know if it's the Kondu that's making it do what it does. I don't really have any idea because it just acts utterly evil and you don't see any actual conscience in the doll. They all had the choice to fight over the Kondu. They all did. I mean, you look at Monroe and you look at Heisenberg. Both had control over the Kondu. They used it to their advantage, yes, to get what they wanted, but like they still wanted to they both were making like they when you listen to their dialogue, they all had choices and all were making their own choices. And yes, you see the vampire queen only cared when you killed her daughters, but the other two showed that she didn't have to follow the thing about Rose. They didn't. None of them had to follow. They could have came together after they left Miranda, given you the child, and said run. They could have, but they didn't want to. Turned evil is a vague stance. You could say yes, they turned evil, but Heisenberg only wanted to kill Miranda. Didn't want to really kill Chris. Or not Chris, but Ethan. He was going to give him his kid and said, hey, let's take over the world. Yes, is that part evil? But he didn't want to kill him. Exactly. So they were each evil in their own rights, right? But the vampire lord, she could have stayed in her castle, gave Ethan the flask, and said, hey, I don't believe in this Miranda person. Don't hurt us. We're not a part of it. Like, there's some like, and you would think they're all affected by the Kondu and a bit of mold, honestly. They met him like a mortal. When they met Ethan, he was already a part of the mold. Like yeah, she trusted him for over 6 years, but when Miranda and all of them met Ethan, he was already a part of the mold. So you would think that they would already sense something wrong with him, something different. I mean, shit, he had his hand cut off. If their minds were connected, right, by the Meg's mind, like I guess like a hive mind, right? It still wouldn't work because Heisenberg kept thinking about killing Miranda, and if he always thought about killing Miranda, Miranda would just end his life if she knew it. They started learning there's more to him, right? But they didn't sit there to think, why is Rose out of everybody the most powerful, right? Why Ethan? Why the family? Miranda was already posing as the family member, right? So why him? Like none of them sat down to think. They all were like, well, that's odd. This guy's not one of the, and the villagers didn't look anything like Ethan or act like Ethan. Mm, I still have to disagree on that. Heisenberg proved that they each had a choice. Heisenberg proved that they had a choice, that they each acted on their own free will. The only one I have no idea about is the doll, because I think that thing was just pure evil, and then they gave it the Kondu, which gave it powers to do just what it wanted. And you can give up fighting the parasite, right? Because the parasite's only giving them powers, making them think evil things, right? You could it, you can never really say it's a symbiotic relationship when it's causing you to do. But they didn't have to do anything they didn't want to do because Heisenberg didn't. Heisenberg helped Ethan. Yeah, but blood cravings don't cause you to kill some. Like the blood cravings, right? They could have got them from cows. They could have used the animals from the village. They could have even had village. Say they took a village pet. They could have slowly just taken the blood, let it go back, and taken it again. Yeah, but the blood cravings. Yeah, I they but say you want to save yourself, right? Killing another person, taking their loved ones just to save yourself is selfish in the end of the day. Like if you want to say they're so innocent, they wanted to end it, they could have just stabbed themselves if they knew how to die, right? So the cold killed them. They could have just went into the cold until they died and then lived, like died together as a whatever. Then they would have ended. Now the fish guy, he was kind of stuck because yes, he was unstable with all of his stuff. Even Heisenberg could have killed himself. And the doll girl was literally in her own home. We had to go to her home to find her, and she was just with a bunch of dolls in her house. Like if you wouldn't have went in the house, you didn't really even have to deal with her. Yeah, but if there's two little villagers and they still needed the blood cravings, right? Then just they could have ended it as a family. They could have ended the curse and said they don't want this on anybody else, but they didn't. They said, "Cool. Well, if we have to kill this guy to get this, then we're gonna do it." Yes, the doll idea. Those you had to go out of your way to go find them for no reason. And all they want to do is play. So if you did nothing with them, didn't go in the house, I don't know. Yeah, but they wanted to have all these keys and if you had they wanted all these keys, right? So if you cut out their part and then you'd have to figure out who's going to have another key and which daughter would you have to have two key, like which person would have two keys, or would you just take out that door altogether? Instead of the six winged key, are you going to have just the five? Or the five with the baby mutant Kondu inside? I did think the vampire story was short. But okay, again, if you take this to real life, yeah, the gate wasn't needed. Have climbed over the sides, right? Sure. But also you're gonna climb up a straight steel bar. Not likely. Probably not gonna get very far. And two, with the lichens, they wouldn't just stop attacking you. The lichens wouldn't have just stopped attacking, so you would never have got up that fence. Even if you tried, the werewolves would have killed you. It wouldn't have been the slowly bringing the lichens in. Just been massive amount. Okay, even wood. There wasn't very many grab points on it. So if you took away the key and everything, it's got feathers on it. Okay, you climb over the fence. The lichens would have never stopped. Neither would the werewolves. They just wanted to kill you. Like they had no thoughts. It wouldn't have just been, oh, let me wait till I go try to find Heisenberg to go deal with the lichens in the underground. Look at Chris when he was going battling. Chris saw way more lichens at the end than anybody saw of them. Like he fought a ton of them, which would have been the same for Ethan. Head to Monroe's windmill. Okay, so you jumped over the fence and headed there. You wouldn't have half the good gear you've already got. Only thing stopping us besides the gates is the lack of good weapons. Exactly, you wouldn't have good weapons. And two, without the good weapons, how are you going to take down the werewolf that you try to battle for the grenade launcher? You wouldn't. The werewolf would have just killed you. You climbed the top of that fence, that werewolf would have just killed you. Okay, so you went to the stronghold. You still, at the stronghold, had to go through a good amount of enemies before you were even able to get the good guns. And they're expensive. Say you still had the bartering system, right? How you gonna get the credits? If you ain't killing anybody, you ain't going through anything, how you getting the credits? You think Duke's just gonna give it up to you? You think Duke's just gonna sit there and be like, yep, just take this gun. Cool. Duke was on the barter system. He wanted his return on his investments. And if you just ran through the whole game, you would have 0 credits, so there's 0 return on you as investment. You wouldn't have got the Voss. You wouldn't have got any of the good guns. And then you have metal monsters that you need guns. Especially some of them needed the rocket launchers to kill because they were fully armored up. So if you ain't got any of that, you would have just been made mincemeat in there. The stronghold was made last because without all the good guns, you would have just died. There wouldn't have been a chance. It wouldn't have been, oh, hey, let me just stand here real quick and pat you on the back. They would have just cut you up. And you would have been just another one of those drones. That's why you could not have gone to the stronghold first. It wouldn't even have worked. The monsters were way too strong. And you would have just been destroyed. There would have been no way. The best way you could have gone is to Monroe. And he didn't even have good guns to give you. To be honest, he didn't have shit. So you would have went to Monroe, did his weird playthrough. How would you even have killed his fish form? Because without good guns, you wouldn't have killed the fish. Because he took a ton of bullets heavy after you've heavily upgraded most of your guns. Kind of weird that you say that. Same mind. Just a person. We're having a normal conversation. I only look for more ways to love it and go. I get it. You want the vampires to survive. But if you look at all ways around it, if you try to... Again, if you try to visit all the lords in any order, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. You wouldn't have been able to go to the stronghold, and you wouldn't have killed Monroe without the upgrade. That's why they made the vampires easy. Yeah, you probably could have went to the dollhouse, because he just crushed the doll, really, honestly. You could have went to the dollhouse, right? Nothing to really get out of there. Like in Far Cry 5, yeah, that's a great game, and I do love how you can pick where you want to go. Start. And in Far Cry 6, which is a little bit more garbage, but you also get to pick where you want to go. But the one thing that makes Far Cry different is there's way more ways to make credits and way easier, cheaper guns to get. And you get like unlimited ammo. You aren't scavenging for bullets, and you can die and respawn. It doesn't matter. And the enemies aren't as hard to deal with. Like you get a tank. Like I'm pretty sure if I had a tank, I could blow through all this. We got a tank with Heisenberg, and it was literally like playing with Heisenberg. Like Heisenberg wasn't even a hard boss battle. It was actually like really dumb. It felt like really rushed. I think Resident Evil games, if they were like Far Cry, they'd be pointless. It'd be like saying, let's make this like Halo. If I had a full armor, right, that recharges, and assault rifle, and grenades, think I'm gonna be scared of any of these monsters? No, I'm gonna let them hit me, and I'm gonna just punch them in the face. Or to play as Chris instead of Ethan, have his OP guns stay off the stronghold first. Okay, but if you started as Chris, why would you even go to the stronghold? Why would you go to any of them? Why wouldn't you just go straight to Miranda? But the problem is you needed all of Rose to come together. You would have still had to take Rose from all the different lords. So Chris would have had to battle them all anyways. And Chris wanted to kill them all. So Chris would have ended up killing every single one of the lords. He had 0 empathy for any of them. His whole purpose was to eradicate the problem that they created. Desperate could not have. I'm trying to think of who he could have got as they were. So say Chris did it with OP guns and he died. Still have Rose in their possession. What would Ethan do? There and mope that Rose. If you have Ethan, why would you want to make a character look like that? If Chris went after Rose and not Ethan, had his OP guns, Chris died. Chris would have. Chris would have died. As much firepower as he did have, he was not that good. At least, so the Vampire Lord, she would have just grabbed him, killed him, because Ethan, there was something that they were keeping him alive for. Like they were playing with him. With Chris looking like one of the mercenaries, they would have just killed him. He would have just died, and the game would have just been like, oh, well, where's Ethan? Oh, well, he got Worst Father of the Year award. His daughter got ripped in half, 4 different pieces, and he just said, okay, I'm gonna cry in the hallway. Like that, they would have destroyed Ethan as a character, and you wouldn't want that because Ethan did so much in the previous game. Halfway, full house. Yeah, that's because they built the rushed ending. You get to play as the Umbrella Corps people. It's like you're rushing to the end. They're just quitting any of the potholes that they have for the game. Yeah, but think about the care packages. How unrealistic is it that you find 300 rounds that you have enough time to pick up and deal with? Reload your gun. Lycans, yes, were weak to gunfire, but I mean, think about how many bullets he was running through. Yeah, at certain parts of the story, they just rushed that part. Like Dollhouse, rushed. Like we're playing it again because I feel like they think it was too rushed. We're literally battling the same boss that already died. If you look at it deep, that's most of these games. The way I do them is a one-time playthrough. I enjoy them for what they are, and I play them through on the hardest difficulty, so it takes me the most time. But then that's it. Most of the time, that's one and done. Because if I sit there and play it over again, I'll either find what I hate about the game, or I'll just there's way too many multiplayer games to play. Like this game is fun and all, and I do get the replay through experience and all that. But like, you have infinite ammo and stuff like that. Like, what's the point of the game? Why would you even play it again if you have infinite ammo? Like you're just walking around killing things in a story you already know, nothing you're trying to guess. Ah, I felt like each of them had a reason to die. I really do. If you think about it, each of them had their own reason that you're like sitting there like, yep, I've got to kill you. Ah, I think the game's great. I think it's fun. I think the stories are really good, but the replay through with the extra perks you get, like infinite ammo, the higher powered guns, Chris's weapons, even with infinite ammo and all that. I mean, the Magnum with infinite ammo, you're just walking one tapping. That I have loved to play the game on Valley Valleyish. Oh, I know. I made the mistake, right? I on my first playthrough of this game, I clicked that difficulty, right? And I could not get through the ambush. And then I read that you needed to have beat the game and have some extra stuff before trying to do that because I just wasn't powerful enough. I'll give it to you. That difficulty is super hard. I'll give that to you. So if you hoard out all of it, right, you keep it all. I mean, you could make your inventory huge and you could collect them all. But me, I'm not a completionist. So when I beat a game and I beat the story through, do as much as I feel possible or necessary. Far Cry is a little bit different because that's more of a go around and try to infiltrate everything and do everything. For a game like this, when I beat it at the end at hardcore or veteran or whatever, the hardest difficulty that I can play through legitly because the VOS was made in. You could buy from the difficulty from the store, or you could play through and go back and do it. I really just don't see the fun in doing it. But I understand, like you got speed runners and things like that, and you play through. They play through games to try to beat them as quick as possible. But I don't know. I'm a one and done kind of guy. I used to play games over and over again. Try to. I think the part that when I got burnt out. Alternate endings would have been cool. I do like the choice based games where your choice affects your ending. They definitely could have done that with this. They definitely could have made you choose to kill or release or like capture them sort of deal. Um the alternate endings could have been a very interesting take. Sort of like Fable. Like Fable has so many different endings depending on what you choose to do. Yeah, yes it does. It does, and it teaches you to cheat your way through and they show you little ways if you have a hard time in a part. I never really watch speed runs because I don't like just watching somebody with second they fail or misclick and they restart. It's just like, why did I even watch this? That's nice. I don't really look into the people who voice the. I mean, I guess it's like a unless they're a big actor or something or a big influence. Yeah, yeah, it's very cool, very interesting way. How long have you been involved with the Resident Evil franchise? Like, how long have you been overly following everybody? May of 2021. You didn't know anything about the games beforehand, or you did and you just didn't really follow it that much? Dang, that means I was playing these games before you were. You just fell in love with RE8 like from did you from the commercials or from like you just saw it dropped and it was what your friends or something was talking about and then you just played it and loved it? So you were playing the game, you didn't really care about it too much, and then you saw those people in the game or that set of bosses, I guess I would say, and then you were just like, "Oh, this is cool." Nice. You learned the backstory and everything, and then you did what? Just started researching all the games, or did you go and play all the games? Did you go back and play like 2 and 3 and 4 and like last summer? Must have had a lot of free time on your hands. So you did research, but have you played them? Like, have you went and played each of the other games individually? Oh, the action pack. So you played each of the games? Is that what I'm getting from that? That's cool. I like the remakes. So I started on the RE2 remake, and then I played Biohazard. Then I started playing this one and bought 3 both for the Steam sale. Dang, you play on PS4. Surprised you're still playing on PS4. I have a PS5, I have a Switch, I have my PC, my wife has her PC. Well, I think you'd still play it. Like I think they'd still probably be worth a play. I'm excited to play RE3 remake because I saw it had a lot of story to it. Well, I mean, if you're watching other people play it, ain't that bad either. You'll still get the feel of the game. I don't know. I have no idea. Most games these days get pushed back anyways. They're pretty cool. Wouldn't say they were the best. I think RE7 had some good villains. The family each had their own little story. Makes sense. That would make for a really, really long game, though. Okay, yes. Exactly. So they wanted to be freed, right? But each still had to die.
You know what happens to little girls who can't play nice, don't you? They get punished.
Maybe that would have been valuable, right? Maybe. It. I don't know. I think it. I think it would have still made for a long game. But then, what would you do for Monroe? How would you turn him back human? Transformation was pretty crazy. Yeah, they were. It was tragic that they all. say all that happened, right? Say you knew their backstory, why they were doing what they were doing. If they didn't try to kill him, they only tried to help him, he wouldn't have tried to kill them. He probably would have left them all alone. They each individually tried to help him, he would have probably just let them be.
No way.
Ah, the Bakers just proved that they could tell you their worst problems, but they still wanted to kill him. And they all still had to die. Even though they said, hey, this isn't our fault, they all still had to die.
You know what happens to little girls who can't play nice, don't you? They get punished.
No way.
Found you. You know what happens to little girls who can't play nice, don't you? They get punished.
No way.
How? It makes sense. How am I supposed to outrun it?
Gotta get out of here.
I'm trying to run.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Am I supposed to go through the kitchen? Doesn't make any sense.
Gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends.
I guess not through the kitchen. Maybe if I hide behind the wall?
Gotta get out
We're
of
giving it
here.
one last good run.
Gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Leave me alone.
Really? Come on. So I dodge it at the kitchen, right? I dodge it at the kitchen. And I just run for the door. No dodging, no nothing.
So you're the girl without any friends.
Gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
I don't know. I don't know how I'm supposed to beat this. I don't get it. Really have no idea.
I gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Leave me alone.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think run forward. If we stop there, they can run like it'll stop chasing us and go through the kitchen, but once it goes through the kitchen, I don't know. Like what am I doing wrong? Like I don't know, what do y'all think? What? What am I doing wrong? Like,
Get out of here.
you can't run. You can't go through the kitchen. And I know this monster stops here. And then that one grabs me if I go there.
I gotta get out of here.
So you're the
about to quit. Trying to beat this part so I can get to a save point, but ugh. I mean,
Gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Leave me alone! I gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
I gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Leave me alone! I gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Leave me alone! I gotta get out of here.
So you're the girl without any friends. We want to play with you.
Leave me alone!
You should be nice to your friends. Rose is so disgusting.
Shut up!
Everyone hates Rose.
Stop
Rose
it!
has no friends. It's all because of her dad.
Just shut up! Michael! I can't take much more of this. Why are they talking about my dad? I never even met him. No, I don't know. I don't know the first thing about him. I wish I did. All I know is he died protecting me. Sometimes I try to imagine what my life would have been like if he hadn't died. Would he have taught me to ride a bike? Helped me with my homework? Read me a story every night? Would he have been there for me? Proud of me? Sometimes, when I feel lost or afraid, I try to imagine what he might have said to me. Where are we? It feels familiar, like I've been here before. Look at all the decorations. Some kind of party?
I'm so lucky to have you both in my life.
What's that voice? Is that... Dad? This must be my parents' house from when I was a baby. I bet other things also have my dad's memories.
She's so little. Hard to believe one day she'll be old enough to share a bottle of wine with her old man.
So Dad was a wine drinker.
She bangs her spoon every time I play this. I wonder if she'll be a musician.
I wonder if Dad played any instruments.
She just cannot get enough of this stuff.
I bet Dad would feed me as soon as I started crying.
Rose is such a picky eater. All she ever wants is fruit puree.
I guess I've always loved fruit. Upstairs? I'll take a look.
This tune has always been special for our family.
I think I've heard this before. It's pretty. This is my bedroom?
She's growing so fast. Getting bigger every day.
This crib is so little.
She's already growing out of these onesies?
I can't believe I was ever this tiny.
I wonder if she'll look like me when she grows up.
Oh, I looked so happy. A letter for me?
Happy half-birthday, Rose. My gift to you is a promise. I'll always be there for you, no matter what. I'll be there every birthday to watch you blow out the candles on your cake. I'll be there to make you breakfast and walk you to school every day. I'll be there when you have a bad dream and sing to you until you fall back asleep. I'll hug you tight when you're troubled or worried and tell you that everything's gonna be all right. You are my precious Rose. Never forget that, Dad.
No one loves you.
No! No! Michael! Michael, help! Michael!
Guess what? That thing you're looking for isn't here.
So, you don't have the purifying crystal?
Of course not. For that, you'll have to go deeper. Much deeper. Poor Rose. She can't trust anyone.
Why are you doing this?
No one loves you. And when you're dead, no one will care! Enough games. Now you'll drown.
I need to get out of this house.
Came first.
First?
Why does she only want you?
What are you talking about?
Enough games. Now you'll drown.
I need to get out of this house.
Came first.
First?
Why does she only want you?
What are you talking about?
Look at you! You are beyond worthless!
Seriously, what is your problem?
Just so greedy! So many friends, but it's never enough! Enough games. Now you'll drown. I came first.
First?
Why does she only want you?
What are you talking about?
Look at you! You are beyond worthless!
Seriously, what is your problem?
Just so greedy! So many friends, but it's never enough! Enough games. Now you'll drown. I came first.
First?
Why does she only want you?
What are you talking about?
Got it.
Look at you! You are beyond worthless!
Not very nice.
Seriously, what is your problem?
Bum bum ba bum. Maybe I'm supposed to freeze the dolls that are coming at me? Maybe. Give it a shot.
Just so greedy. So many friends that it's never enough.
Done?
Where do you think you're? Oh look, your families.
Oh, that. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Die!
No! Dang it! I thought I beat that. Do I have to do it all over again? Please, no. Come on, I beat the... dang it.
Now you'll drown.
Alright, I got this time.
Came first.
Got it, you came first.
Why does she
At least I know how to
only
beat it
want
now.
You.
Just pretty much gotta use my powers to kill the dolls and then freeze the other ones while I'm running.
Look at you. You are beyond worthless. Seriously, what is your problem? Just so greedy. So many friends that it's never enough.
Alright, then we go forward. Keep running, keep running.
Where do you think you're?
Running forward.
Look, your
Heck no. Heck no.
enough of this shit.
Freeze. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on. Wah! A few more seconds and I would have got out.
Enough games. Now you'll drown. I came first.
First?
Why does she only want you?
What are you talking about?
Look at you! You are beyond worthless! Seriously, what is your problem? Just so greedy. So many friends that it's never enough. Where do you think you're? Oh look, your families. Enough of this shit. chance.
Made it.
They were supposed to die and join me here. Let's go. What? Stop it! How are you even here?
Michael! Good, you made it out. Evelyn? That little girl?
There's a save point here? Oh, there is.
You will never leave. Never! I have been such a good girl! Guys, we were supposed to be a family! I'm completely obsessed with stupid old Rose! If you'd never been born, it would have been perfect! You'll die here! This is stupid! Go away! I was special! You're worthless! You're worthless! Nothing! A freak with no friends! No escape! No! Stop!
I can't believe how useless I am. No wonder no one loves me. What now?
This is all your fault! And I will never let you have what you want!
Rose, look out! Don't give up, Rose. Find that crystal.
The heck?
Michael? Are you there?
Rose, look out!
He saved me. But he didn't make it. That voice. My dad's voice. Is Michael my dad?
Don't give up, Rose. Find that crystal.
Because of him, I can keep going. I have to find that crystal. I'm on my own, but I...
Well, that's it for today. Maybe we'll get some more tomorrow, but I might also be playing Elden Ring. I don't really know. But just be on the lookout. It might be on earlier in the day, but that'll be it for today. I hope everybody enjoyed who was all watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, or today actually. But yeah, we played a little late today, but yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will definitely see you all tomorrow.
have
Let me make sure.
to keep going.